The courtroom was dead silent when the prosecutor stood, a stack of papers in one hand, a cell phone in the other. He walked slowly to the center, then lifted his voice so the jury could hear every word. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to see are not just messages. They are this officer's true thoughts. The judge adjusted her glasses, leaning forward. Jurors stiffened in their chairs, some already shifting uncomfortably. Before we go further, make sure you're subscribed to True Crime Uncovered. We bring you the cases others bury, the truths others fear, and the stories that shake entire communities. Hit that subscribe button now, because what you're about to hear will keep you glued until the very last word. Across the room, Officer Mark Reynolds, mid-40s, tall, broad frame, with a square jaw and thinning blonde hair, swallowed hard. Sweat glistened at his temple. His crisp navy blue uniform looked more like a costume now than a badge of honor. The prosecutor tapped the phone, and suddenly, the massive screen behind him lit up. A string of texts appeared in bold letters. The first one made the jury's mouths fall open. The second one had the gallery gasping. By the third, even the judge herself whispered, "Oh my God!" The officer's head dropped. His career, his authority, his mask, shattered in real time. And the courtroom would never be the same again. The case had started months earlier, in a quiet Texas suburb where neighbors trusted Officer Reynolds as the man who kept the streets safe. To the public, he was a decorated veteran cop. But behind closed doors, on private group chats, he was something else entirely. The texts revealed something far darker. Racial slurs, jokes about profiling, even boasts about stopping black drivers for no reason at all. One message, sent just weeks before the trial, read, "Gotta remind these people who runs this town." And the "these people" wasn't hard to figure out. The prosecutor turned to the jury. His tone was sharp, each word cutting deeper than the last. This man wore a badge. He swore an oath. And yet, behind the scenes, he treated minority citizens as targets, not neighbors. He abused the trust of this community. He weaponized his authority against those he was supposed to protect. The jury couldn't look away. Some leaned forward, jaws tight. Others shook their heads slowly, in disbelief. In the gallery, families who had once complained about Officer Reynolds' behavior, but were dismissed as overreacting, sat stone-faced. Now, the truth was undeniable. The defense attorney tried to interject. He was a slick man in a tailored gray suit, mid-50s, with thinning hair combed carefully back. He raised his voice, attempting to soften the blow. "These texts are out of context," he said quickly. "They were private jokes. Crass, yes, but irrelevant to the facts of this case." But the prosecutor didn't flinch. He scrolled further, each tap another nail in the coffin. One message read, "Pulled over a black guy last night. Made him sweat. Didn't even need a reason." Another, "HOA's right, we gotta keep the neighborhood clean. Don't need their kind ruining property values." The jury gasped again. "Private jokes?" The prosecutor repeated, his voice dripping with contempt. "Tell me, who finds this funny? Who laughs at stripping away dignity from innocent people?" These weren't jokes. They were windows into his soul. The judge leaned forward. Her voice was calm but heavy. "Counselor, I suggest you stop minimizing this. The evidence speaks for itself." The defense attorney sank back, defeated. And then came the moment no one saw coming. The prosecutor pulled up the final message. This one wasn't just a slur or a cruel joke. It was a confession. It read, "If anybody asks about that stop last fall, just say the dash cam malfunctioned. They'll never prove it." Gasps erupted from the gallery. A woman in the back broke down, covering her face with her hands. She was the mother of the young man referenced in that very stop, an honor roll student who claimed Officer Reynolds had harassed him, only to be told there was no evidence. Now there was. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged her gavel. "Order! Order in the court!" But there was no order. Not anymore. The mask had been ripped away. The trial stretched on for weeks, each day peeling back more of Reynolds's carefully constructed image. Witness after witness took the stand. Black drivers described being followed home. their cars searched without cause, their dignity stripped at the roadside. Latino families testified about being treated like intruders in their own neighborhood. One man recounted being handcuffed on his own front lawn for looking suspicious. Every story was met with the same defense: denial. Reynolds shook his head, jaw tight, insisting he was just doing his job. His attorney argued that these were isolated incidents, blown out of proportion. But the texts told the truth his mouth never could. When it was his turn to testify, Reynolds sat stiffly in the witness chair. The prosecutor's voice was low, steady, each question precise. "Officer Reynolds, do you deny sending these messages?" I don't remember sending all of them." "Do you deny this one?" The prosecutor read aloud. "Gotta remind these people who runs this town." Reynolds shifted in his seat. "It was a poor choice of words." "A poor choice of words," the prosecutor repeated. He paused, letting the jury take in Reynolds's discomfort. Then he leaned closer. "Or the truest words you've ever spoken?" Reynolds's face flushed. He looked toward the jury, searching for sympathy, but found none. The cross-examination went on for hours. By the end, Reynolds was sweating, his hands gripping the armrests of his chair like they might hold him together. The gallery had no pity. And then came closing arguments. The prosecutor's voice boomed through the courtroom. "The badge is sacred. It is meant to protect, not persecute. But this man used it as a weapon. He laughed about it. He bragged about it. And he thought he'd never be caught." He paused, his eyes sweeping the jury. "But he was. And now it's up to you to decide if this community will finally hold him accountable." The defense tried one last time. "Yes, the texts were ugly. Yes, they were inappropriate. But we cannot let private words overshadow years of service." But even as he spoke, the jurors' faces told the story. The decision had already been made. When the verdict was read, the room was tense enough to snap. On the charge of misconduct under color of law, guilty. On the charge of evidence tampering, guilty. On the charge of perjury, guilty. Each word struck like a hammer. Reynolds's wife wept quietly in the gallery. His head dropped into his hands. The judge's voice was final, steady. "You betrayed the public trust. You demeaned the badge. You will serve 12 years in federal prison." The courtroom erupted, not in chaos this time, but in relief. Neighbors hugged. Families who had once been ignored wept tears of vindication. The mother of the young man in the dashcam incident whispered, "Justice, finally." Reynolds was led out in shackles, his uniform traded for prison blues. The man who once strutted with power was now just another inmate. And the story spread far beyond that Texas courtroom. Clips of the verdict went viral online. Headlines read, "Officer exposed in racist text scandal gets 12 years. Courtroom gasps as cops' messages reveal pattern of abuse. The day a badge turned into a weapon, and justice stripped it away." But for the people who lived it, it wasn't just another viral clip. It was proof that silence could be broken, that power could be challenged, that justice, though delayed, could still arrive. As the courthouse emptied that night, the judge remained behind, staring at the now dark screen that had displayed those damning texts. She whispered to herself, too soft for anyone else to hear, "The truth always finds a way out." And in that town on that day it had. If you believe stories like this need to be told, don't just watch, subscribe. Because every click, every share, every subscriber helps us bring you the cases that others want forgotten. True Crime Uncovered doesn't hide the ugly. We shine a light on it. Subscribe today and never miss the truth.